They came from the unforgiving north, a force of nature driven by fate and a lust for glory. For 3 centuries they struck fear into the heart of medieval Europe, their name synonymous with terror. The Vikings. But who were these Northmen? Were they merely bloodthirsty raiders or something more complex? To understand them, we must first look to the harsh, beautiful lands that forged them. Scandinavia, the 8th century. While southern Europe was unified under the banner of Christ, the Norse lived in a world of fragmented chiefdoms bound by kin, honor, and the old gods, Odin, Thor, and Freya. Their lives were one with the sea. Agriculture was difficult, resources limited. A younger son, destined to inherit no land, had only one path to wealth and status: to go a Viking. The spark that ignited this age of expansion was a masterpiece of naval engineering: the longship. These vessels were revolutionary. Shallow drafts allowed them to strike deep inland via rivers, yet their strength and sail allowed them to cross the open ocean. A perfect weapon for hit-and-run warfare and unparalleled exploration. The first recorded shattering blow came in 793 AD. The target, the isolated holy island of Lindisfarne in Northumbria. The monastic chronicles describe a scene of lamentable slaughter and profanity. Monks were killed, treasures plundered. The event sent a shockwave across Christendom. This was no mere skirmish. It was the moment Europe realized a new, terrifying power had arrived. The age of the Vikings had officially begun, but the raids were only the beginning. Soon these seasonal marauders saw opportunity not just in plunder, but in permanent settlement. They established strongholds, turning rivers into highways of conquest. In Ireland, they founded Dublin. In France, they terrorized the Seine. The name Viking, meaning pirate or raider, defined their impact on the outside world. But in their homes, they were simply the Norse, farmers, chieftains, and traders preparing for their next great voyage. Beyond the image of the raiding axe lay a sophisticated global trading network. The Vikings were not just destroyers, they were master entrepreneurs. Following the great rivers of the east, Swedish Norsemen known as the Rus pushed deep into the lands of the Slavs. They established vital trade hubs like Novgorod and Kiev, creating the foundations for what would one day become Russia. Their trade goods, furs, honey, amber, and tragically slaves. Their journey ended astonishingly at the gates of the ultimate prize, Miklagard, Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire. Here the Norse were no longer invaders but elite mercenaries. Renowned for their ferocity, they became the emperor's personal guard, the Varangian Guard. Meanwhile, in the west, the expansion was one of colonization. Driven by overpopulation and political turmoil, many Norwegians sought a new life across the vast Atlantic. They discovered and settled the Saga Age territory of Iceland, establishing the Althing, one of the world's earliest forms of parliament, in 930 AD. This spirit of restless exploration led to the next discovery. Greenland, a land named by the exiled chief Eric the Red to make it sound more appealing to settlers, and then the ultimate frontier. Around the year 1000, Eric's son Leif Erikson sailed west, landing in a place the sagas call Vinland. They were the first Europeans to reach North America nearly 500 years before Columbus. Archaeological evidence at Lanceau Meadows confirms this astonishing feat. But the settlements in Vinland did not last. Conflict with the native Skraelings and the sheer distance from home proved too great a challenge. The dream of the New World was put on hold. From the steppes of Russia to the shores of North America, the Viking reach was undeniable. They connected continents, laying down complex, profitable routes of trade and conquest. To look beyond the warrior is to discover a rich, if stark, culture. Viking society was surprisingly democratic for the age, with free men holding power in assemblies called the Things. Status was everything. A man's honor, reputation, and skill with arms defined his place. Even women, though primarily homemakers, held significant rights. The popular image of the horned helmet is a myth, a romantic invention of the 19th century. The real Viking warrior was practical, relying on chainmail, iron helmets, and his shield. Their primary weapons, the axe, the spear, and the sword. To die in battle was not a tragedy but a triumph, a guaranteed entry to Valhalla. Their lives were guided by a magnificent dark mythology. The world Yggdrasil, a vast ash tree, connected the 9 realms. The gods were complex and fallible. Odin, the All-Father, god of war, poetry, and death. Thor, the protector, god of thunder and strength. Their ultimate fate was Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. A final cataclysmic battle that would end the world, only for it to be reborn. This sense of inevitable doom fostered a heroic fatalism. A Viking could not change his ultimate fate, but he could choose to face it with courage and glory. Their burial rituals were grand affairs designed to ease the journey to the afterlife. The most prestigious, the ship burial. Discoveries like the Oseberg and Gokstad ships offer a priceless window into their wealth, art, and belief. The intricate woodworking is a testament to their artistic sophistication. Their legacy in language is subtle but profound. Old Norse gave English words like sky, skull, leg, and even law and husband. But the world was changing. The very success of their expansion planted the seeds of their decline. The pagan North was about to meet its greatest challenge, Christianity. The Viking kingdoms began to centralize, consolidating power under Christian monarchs like Norway's Olaf II, later Saint Olaf. Raid gave way to state-sponsored trade and governance. The largest political force they created in the West was the Danelaw in England, an immense territory where Norse law and customs reigned for over a century. This led to powerful figures like Knut the Great, who by 1016 ruled a vast North Sea empire comprising England, Denmark, and Norway. The assimilation was complete. The Vikings were no longer outsiders. They were kings, dukes, and earls woven into the very fabric of European power. Their final dramatic chapter is often dated to the fateful year of 1066. The stage was set for the ultimate showdown for the English crown. At the Battle of Stamford Bridge, the Norwegian king Harald Hardrada, the last great Viking warrior, was defeated by the English king Harold Godwinson. 3 weeks later, the English were themselves defeated at Hastings by the descendants of a Viking chief, the Normans, the Northmen who had adopted French language and Christianity. The Viking Age ended not with a whimper, but with the roar of a new conquering dynasty forged in their image. Yet their legacy endures far beyond the battlefield. They were the bridge builders connecting the disparate worlds of the North, East, and West. They were masters of exploration, pushing the limits of the known world, their longships etched forever into the history of seafaring. The popular image of the savage marauder is only a fraction of their story. The Vikings were pioneers, merchants, lawgivers, and the founders of nations. The Northmen have long since left their dragon ships, but their spirit of adventure, their laws, and their stories continue to echo, whispering across the cold, beautiful seas they once ruled.